back. This is not a joke. We're good.
The Twins continue to prove just how good they are. Last night coming back from a 6-run deficit for the 16th time in team history, finishing with a 9-6 win over the Orioles, or their 4th win in the first 5 games of this homestand. Today they look to keep it going with one of their hottest pitchers on the mound as Alberto Mejia makes his first career start against Baltimore. It's Game 3 between the Twins and Orioles on a beautiful afternoon at Target Field. Twins Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by State Farm. Welcome to Target Field for a beautiful afternoon of baseball, everybody. I'm Audra Martin. The Minnesota Twins have been searching for consistency all season here in front of the home crowd, and so far this homestand seems to be just what they need in order to get over the hump. And a big part of that has been because of the play of Byron Buxton. Of course, his defense speaks for itself, but over the last 4 games, he's been the Twins' most productive hitter. His batting average has jumped nearly 20 points, and Paul Molitor says it's because he's taken a big step forward in his ability to make in-game adjustments from one pitcher to another who might have a completely different look, and it's made all the difference. But now Buxton has some company in center field. The Twins sent Felix Jorge back to Double-A and have called up Zach Granite from Rochester to make his major league debut. That call-up, though, comes on the heels of a month that earned Granite International League Player of the Month honors. And expectations have been high surrounding this young player who ended last season as the Twins' Minor League Player of the Year. He's played all 3 positions in the outfield, and Paul Molitor says he has a bit of moxie to him that you don't find too often in young athletes. Coming up, Dick Bramer and Roy Smalley break down the impressive last 4 starts for Mejia and what he needs to do this afternoon to keep that stretch going.
Toyota. Tested, trusted Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. By CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. Beautiful day for baseball here at Target Field. The Twins have had the Orioles number this year. This afternoon they hope to go to 6-0 against Baltimore. Adalberto Mejia will make the start for the Minnesota Twins, coming off what Paul Molitor described as his best start as a major leaguer. And we welcome you to Target Field. Dick Raymer and Roy Smalley, a nice combination for you here today. A good baseball team, a beautiful ballpark, and a gorgeous summer afternoon for baseball. And in the case of the starting pitcher for the Twins this afternoon, a guy that the Twins are beginning to count on as someone who's going to be a consistent starter for them.
When I saw him pitch in spring training, Dick, I thought that stuff should play up here. Fastball, good back foot slider, and a changeup. If he can have command of that, it should play in the big leagues. He hasn't had the command until the last 4 games, and then it's been really, really good. All 3 pitches working. Keys off the fastball when he's throwing that for a strike, then the changeup and that slider breaking away from left-handers and back foot to right-handers. Really, really good. That's what he's done lately. If he's got his command, then he's got a chance to win every time he goes out there.
Twins swept the Orioles in 3 games in Baltimore, and now they'd like to make it 3-0 here at Target Field and hope to pick up some ground on the competitors for a playoff spot before the All-Star break. Have actually had a couple of come-from-behind wins in this Baltimore series already. Fell behind early 2-0 2 nights ago, 6-0 last night. And Roy, one thing that we didn't talk about last night, which really been nice, they've come back and won those games without hitting a home run. They haven't hit a home run since the 4th of July. It's been a succession of really good at-bats. And Buck Showalter hoping that his team can end a long losing streak before the All-Star break. There's nothing worse than going into the break with a long losing streak. It's reached 5 games for the Orioles. Menard's batting order has Joey Rickard leading off, Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope going to Miami, Adam Jones, Mark Trumbo, Trey Mancini, Wellington Castillo, Johnny Giavotella, and Craig Gentry.
Against Adalberto Mejia, talked about his last 4 starts being really good. He'll try to string another one out there.
Northland 4 defense for the Twins. Miguel Sano DHing today, an outfield of Rosario, Buxton, and Grossman. Since the Orioles are starting a left-hander, Escobar, Adrianza, Dozier, Vargas, the infielders, and Castro behind the plate. The last home run that the Twins hit was actually on the 4th of July. Byron Buxton hit it. And so Twins really putting together some good at-bats. And of course, they hope not to fall behind early. And that'll be the job for Mejia as he is ready to pitch to the Orioles here, starting with Joey Rickard. And the first pitch over for a strike.
And that's what we want to hear you say an awful lot today with Mejia out there. And he will be as good as his ability to throw strikes will be.
There's a bunt. Mejia fires up the line. And Rickard started towards second, so he'll retreat to first. Should be a bunt single for Rickard. And an on-target throw might have gotten him at first base.
Well, the biggest chink in the armor of the big fellow on the mound that we've seen so far is fielding his position, and he's going to have to get better at that. But the one thing that he has gotten much better at is throwing strikes. We'll look at it here. Rickard bunts the ball too far for the catcher.
They give him a base hit. Paul Molitor out to challenge it. Rickard was running inside the baseline, and that's always a tough call for an umpire to make. And the way the grass is cut here, I'm guessing that unless Rickard ran all the way up on the grass, that's never going to be called.
I don't think they're going to call that one. That's just a case of Mejia needing to bounce off there and get to that ball a little bit sooner so he doesn't have to rush that throw.
Now here's Manny Machado. Had a great night at the plate. Nearly hit 3 home runs. He did hit 2. Ball 1. Machado's batting average down to .224, but it jumped up last night with 4 hits. And over for a strike, 1-1.
You know, there are 3 things that a pitcher can do that regardless of stuff can help him win ball games. Hold runners, throw strikes, hold runners on first base well, and field your position. Those are 3 things that you can make yourself better at without having to change skill levels.
Out in front of the changeup. Machado hit a first inning home run, a solo home run. That one going into the overhang area in right field. And he clobbered a changeup with 2 men on into the seats and left. And the Orioles, they thought, were on their way at 6-0. Orioles hit 3 home runs last night. Twins didn't hit any, but they won the ball game 9-6. 1-2 to Machado. Got him with the changeup. And down. We call it a changeup, but we sit right behind home plate. It almost has a bit of a screwball action to it.
It fades away from right-handers, no question about it. It's got really good movement on it. And when you throw it in a good spot like that, you can see the ball fading away from the right-hand hitter, and he's way out in front. But as I said, he's got 3 really good pitches. These are big league pitches he has: fastball, slider, and that changeup. And it's just a question of pitching from ahead in the count and not being behind and not walking guys and putting yourself in under duress.
Here's Scope. And a fastball down the middle. Orioles have been beset by injuries, some disappointing years, but Scope having a wonderful year, and he deserves to go to the All-Star game with numbers like that. Missed inside, 1-1.
Good pitch there. That will set up the back foot slider that I would imagine Scope's going to see, or maybe not see so well in this at bat. If you're going to throw that slider from a left-hander to a right-handed hitter, you want it angling down toward the back foot, and you have to set it up with your hitter thinking you might get a pitch inside, a fastball inside.
You're looking at Mejia's starts and throwing out the first one because he was nervous as can be, as you might expect. Went just an inning and 2/3, was wild. Gave up a couple of earned runs, but since then there's only been one start that's been bad. The one here against Seattle when he gave up 8 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings. Other than that start, he's given the Twins a real good chance to win every ball game. 2-1. Could be 2. It's 1. It's 2. Mejia comes back after the infield hit, faces just 3 men in a scoreless first inning.
Pitcher's best friend.
Up this morning after a wonderful win last night. And the Twins swept the Orioles in a season series in Paul's first year, 7-0. They'll try to do that here in the next 30 hours or so. Menard's batting order for the Twins in game 3. Dozier, Escobar, Sano, Grossman, Vargas, Rosario, Adrianza, Buxton, and Castro.
Left-hander Wade Miley on the hill for the Orioles. Talking with Jim Palmer earlier about Wade Miley, says, you know, he does everything that you'd want from a left-hander. He just can't seem to throw enough strikes to use all his good stuff. So we'll see if the Twins hitters can be patient, get good balls to hit.
Dozier leading things off. And the first pitch down and away, ball 1. In his last start, Miley lasted just an inning and 2/3 in Milwaukee, gave up 7 earned runs. Popped out right center field. Craig Gentry's out there. After a long wait, he gloves it, 1 down. Northland Ford defense for the Orioles. Joey Rickard is in left. Adam Jones is in center. Craig Gentry in right. Machado, Scope, Giavotella, Mancini, the infielders. Wellington, Castillo behind the plate.
Buck Showalter forced to move Jonathan Scope over to shortstop from his natural second base and give Giavotella a chance to get somebody in there other than the shortstops they have to get some offense.
Scope played a couple innings over there 2 nights ago. It was the first time he played on that side of the infield in the big leagues, and now he's getting a full game exposure there. 1-0, and Escobar to left center field. That's hit fairly well to the gap, but Jones calls for it, makes the catch, 2 down. A couple of outfield flies, a couple of quick outs, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Miguel Sano. Sano, the designated hitter. Had a tough time scoring early, something they did fairly well on the road trip to pick up some wins. They finished the road trip 5-6, but here at home it's been another matter. Down and away, ball 1. you know, the last time Miley had what you would call a good start, you'd have to go back to June 1st at home against Boston. 7 innings, just 1 run allowed. And a strike at the knees, 3-1. Miley working quickly. Sano shoots one through an open right side of the infield. Hard ground ball for the first hit for the Twins, and that'll get Robbie Grossman to the plate.
A good swing by Miguel Sano right here. Ball down and moving away. Goes with it. Doesn't try to pull the ball. Takes a base hit right there. Already feeling good about himself. Now he can go up there and try to hit the ball 9 miles over the left field fence again next time.
I think there's some truth to that for players who aren't used to being the DH. Get that first hit out of the way. Whatever happens here in the first inning, now Sano's going to have to sit for about 45 minutes. And whatever you do in life, it's nice having a positive vibe in your profession than it is sitting there stewing about a strikeout.
I will tell you that there's nothing better than seeing 5 pitches from a guy, getting a base hit and then getting a base hit your first time up. So now you've seen a lot of what he's got. You've seen his release point. You're already 1 for 1, and you're feeling pretty good your second time up there.
1-0 to Grossman. And Miley struggling to throw strikes. That was one of the issues in the Sano at bat.
And that is his issue. There's no question about it. He's got 4 pitches. He's got a 91, 92 mile an hour fastball, curveball, slider, and change. He can throw all 4 of those. He just has had a really hard time staying out of hitters' counts.
You saw the numbers on the year. 83 innings coming into the start today, 48 walks, and that translates to about 5 walks per 9 innings, and that's double what you would like.
Always when that happens, you see it, almost always you see a guy that walks a lot of guys. The guy's just not walking. He's pitching 2-0 and 3-1.
Right.
That's where the trouble comes in.
And now 3-1 with Vargas on deck, and Castillo reacting like he thought that was a strike. Sean Barber calling balls and strikes.
Another thing that I will tell you happens is when a pitcher's all over the place, the strikes will surprise an umpire once in a while.
And now Grossman thought that was ball 4.
Well, that looked like those 2 were in the same spot, it looked like, so he's wrong once. At least.
Nope.
Yeah, it was right. Yeah, it was right on the lower perimeter of the strike zone. That's pitch Robbie generally likes.
Up the middle, a base hit. And Sano content to stay at second base. A couple of hits after the second out, and now Vargas will come up with 2 men aboard. Vargas recalled yesterday with Joe Mauer going onto the disabled list, and boy, did he have a good night at the plate.
3 really good at bats. Hit a ball off the left center field wall his first time. A base hit to right field his next time, and then hit another ball off the left center field fence, scoring 2 runs. That was the big blow in that big comeback inning.
And what the Twins would love for Vargas to do is have a game like that right-handed, where he's hitting just 143. 6 hits, 42 at bats, a double and a home run. Checked his swing. Ball 1.
So you can see right there the difference in his right-handed swing and his left-handed swing. He's pushing directly off his back leg at the ball early. Left-handed, he'll gather on his left leg, on his back leg, until he sees the ball better. And right leg, he's pushing off. A right-handed, he's pushing off before he really sees it. See, he's already committing to a stride forward and moving off of his back leg right-handed. Left-handed, he stays back on his back leg a little bit longer and allows him to see the ball better.
Dangerous pitch here from Miley to Vargas. It's 2-0 with 2 men on. An awkward swing. Not sure that Miley even stopped in his stretch delivery on that pitch.
We'll see it from the side. See, he starts back, but then he pushes forward right away and pushes off of it. It's just a little hesitation. You need to be poised on that back leg as you're seeing it.
Foul back 2-2. Nice catch.
So let's look again. See, he gets back, but now he's pushing off before he really sees the ball, and he's got all arm swing left on that ball that was a little bit outside.
And a breaking ball down and in. Vargas swings over the top, and the Twins strand 2 on the first. Using this assortment of pitches.
He's got 4 really good pitches, and the biggest change, and you see a nice dispersion here of different pitches, but what's been really good is that all of them have been thrown for strikes a great percentage of the time. That's been the difference these last 3 or 4 starts from when he first came up. When you have this many pitches and they're all quality pitches and you're throwing them for strikes, you got a really good chance.
Jones, Trumbo, and Mancini will hit for Baltimore in the second inning. This coming from a guy who, the only thing I know about hitting is which end of the bat to grab, okay? But I watched Mejia, and it seems like all the pitches come out of the same slot, and they all get like 2/3 of the way to home plate, and then the different pitches do so many different things. One bites down and in, the slider, the other one fades away, and if you're a hitter, that's got to be tough to discern which pitch it is when it varies so much so late.
You just described trying to hit in the big leagues.
1 and 2. Well, they change up.
No, you're absolutely right. That's it. And on top of that, not only does it come from pretty much the same angle all the time, but that changeup arm speed is the exact same arm speed as his fastball. And you're looking at a pitcher's hand and arm, and it looks like fastball speed coming out of there, and then it's just not. And then you go, well, I got to wait on that changeup, and he zips that 92-mile-an-hour fastball using the same arm speed. So that's what good pitchers do, and the really good ones that become elite have all those pitches that they're throwing in the location that they want the majority of the time.
1 and 2 to Jones.
There's the slider. That's just great pitching right there. I mean, and here's what I think has gone on with Mejia. Besides the fact that first and foremost, but before all the strikes started getting thrown, I think he started just paying attention to his catcher. So we'll look at this sequence. He throws fastball in, changeup away, fastball up, and then comes back with that hard bite slider. Really good assortment, and all of them really good spots.
1 down, and now Trumbo.
So what I started to say is, I think first, if you notice, he doesn't shake off the catcher too much anymore.
Not anymore.
And I think that he's understanding that Castro and Jimenez are pretty good about knowing how to pitch to hitters. Look, kid, you've got the stuff. You throw it what I tell you to throw will be okay. I think that was the first step, and then he started getting confidence in that and started throwing it for strikes. And that's been the change. All of his pitches for strikes, and that's been the change.
2-0 now to Trumbo.
Every once in a while, he'll do what he just did on these first 2 pitches. He'll get out ahead of himself just a little bit. And then to your point, Dick, the arm slot's not the same. It drags a little bit, and he'll throw it up and away. So just like that, he's just his body's a little bit ahead. Believe me, when that body gets ahead, it's going where it wants to.
3-0. Walks really haven't been a problem. 1 walk in each of his last 2 starts. Trying to come back from 3-0 against a dangerous hitter. There's a strike. You're going to have 3 ball counts, but we've seen Mejia do a better job of making it a competitive at bat rather than a free pass falling behind 3-0. Part of the way there now with a 3-0 strike.
He's going to throw a changeup and a fastball count here. Great pitch. Great pitch. So Trumbo's sitting all over fastball there. 3-1, you have to. You got to say, man, I'm going to get a fastball right in the middle of the plate. Looks like fastball until right there. And then all of a sudden it's not a fastball. It's 10 miles an hour slower and it's sinking.
And you've always said when a hitter gets 3-1, you should expect on 3-2, right?
Well, you got to figure he might as well throw that one.
Strikeout came all the way back from 3-0 to strike out Trumbo. 3 quick strikeouts already for Mejia.
One thing that I learned as a hitter, and I learned it way too late, is we see a 3-2 really good back foot slider right there. If a guy's going to throw you something other than a fastball on 3-1, then you have to give up fastball 3-2. It doesn't mean that you're going to take it if it's a strike, but you have to do something to defend against other stuff, because you've got more of a chance of getting something other than fastball 3-2 if he's going to throw it something else 3-1. You have to say, okay, 3-2 is no longer a fastball count. I don't care about it anymore.
There's a strike 1-1, because you're facing a pitcher who has enough confidence in his secondary pitch to throw it in a 3-1 count.
He does now. He didn't start out that way, and that's interesting to me too. Which reports are they getting? If they're looking at video from his early starts, they're going to say, man, he can't get any of that stuff over, just sit on the fastball. But that's different now. They better have been getting the reports about how many strikes he's throwing with those secondary pitches.
Fly ball deep right center field. Grossman is there to put it away. Good inning again for Mejia as he faces just 3 men and strikes out 2 of them. Nice crowd here, and we're happy that you've decided to spend part of your weekend with Twins baseball. Audra Martin, Roy Smalley, and Dick Bramer here. Another day game tomorrow, then the Twins will get an all-star break. Most of them will. And resume resume the season in Houston Friday night. Eddie Rosario to lead things off against Wade Miley. And he takes strike one. On the ground. Scope, the shortstop. Throws him out, one down. We'll bring up Adrianza. Adrianza getting the start at short. Ray Polanco scuffling a bit at the plate. So Adrianza recently off the disabled list with an abdominal issue. Just to clarify a little bit, it wasn't a muscular thing. It was a GI issue, gastrointestinal issue, and Twins got that corrected. Everything's fine now. Strike one. And to center field, down for a hit. Adrianza, I think, has been a pleasant surprise offensively. He came to the Twins with a reputation of being a really strong defender, but not much of a hitter. But he's hitting in the 260, 270 range.
Been working very, very hard with James Rowson. He got a little fastball inside part of the plate, dropped his hands inside, kind of staying inside the ball there so he could get more of the big end of the bat on it, and dunked it into center field.
That's
he works with both James Rowson and Rudy Hernandez.
Right.
We don't give Rudy enough credit. Rudy's really good with these hitters, along with James. And I really enjoy watching the two of them work because they're on the same page. They understand what Rudy really understands what James is trying to teach, and he's really good with these players as well.
Buxton the hitter. Adrianza checked it first. Ball one. What Adrianza just did with Miley's low 90s fastball is what impressed Paul Molitor about what Buxton did against Zach Britton's 96-mile-per-hour fastball last night. The base hit was a big hit. It drove in a run, and then Buxton later scored on Dozier's single. But Paul said that was a good measuring stick as to how this was done back to the mound. And out at second. At least that's the initial call, and they'll wait and see, perhaps look as to whether Giavotella had a foot on the bag. Adrianza's staying put right now.
It looked like he made a really nice play and stay on it, but it's probably worth a look. Dragged his foot across the up. Made a really nice play.
Buxton will probably reach on a fielder's choice. But Paul was saying, the Byron being able to get a hit against a 96-mile-per-hour fastball on the inner half of the plate was a sign of progress, maybe the biggest sign of progress because of where the point of contact was. Rather than Byron trying to hit the ball 18 inches out in front of the plate, letting the ball travel, as they say, and getting the barrel on the bat on the ball and driving it up the middle hard.
Absolutely right. All those things are absolutely right, and that's what they're trying. That's the reason why he stopped the leg kick. It's the reason why they're trying to get his leg foundation in place so that his arms can work back through the middle like that. You're just exactly right.
Down and in, ball one. Buxton 16 for 17 in stolen bases. And regarding Buxton's stealing ability, Paul said he's seen great strides, no pun intended, great improvement. And this might be a situation where we see that with a left-hander on the mound. And the Twins dearly loving to get Buxton's speed and scoring position.
I guarantee you, after last night, he's in scoring position right now.
And Castro puts down a bunt. Miley into a slide, comes up firing, and makes a fine play.
That is one terrific play right there.
Miley with a good play for the third out. Castro didn't bunt it up the line quite far enough. We have a pair of scoreless innings here this afternoon.
Athletic play by a pitcher.
Northland.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. By Grand Casino, the best stories start here. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. No score through 2. Alberto Mejia's facing the minimum number of batters. Did give up a base hit to lead off the ball game by Rickard on a bunt. Wellington Castillo, Johnny Giavotella, and Craig Gentry will hit in the 3rd. Missing high, ball 1. Twins looking for win number 46 on the year. Cleveland playing tonight. Kansas City playing tonight. Royals lost last night, so the Twins are in 2nd place in the division. 2-0. Popped up down the right field line. Grossman has a long run. Not as long as I thought. 1 down. With 1 out in the 3rd inning. Let's go to Audra Martin.
Well, guys, it's time for our car soup scoop from the clubhouse. This morning, it was actually an empty clubhouse for Zach Granite as he arrived before everybody else on the team. But he said it was perfect because it gave him a chance to just sit and soak in the fact that a dream was coming true. The post-break rotation is set. Jose Brios will start things off. Then Irvin Santana, followed by Kyle Gibson. Mejia will open up a series against the Yankees. And when it comes to stealing bases, Paul Molitor says Byron Buxton has made big improvements simply by realizing that speed doesn't guarantee success. And now with the way he's hitting, he says it's a perfect chance for him to fine-tune those instincts on the base path. Guys?
Well, thank you, Audra. And the pitch is ball 1 to Johnny Giavotella. Regarding Granite, he was in the starting lineup last night for the Rochester Red Wings. And then the word came to Rochester that the Twins needed him to be here today. So Mike Quade, the Rochester manager, called an impromptu team meeting right before first pitch and had the whole team gather around in the clubhouse, and of course someone made sure that Granite was front and center. And Mike Quade said 3 words, and I'm trying to think exactly what the words were. What did I tell you before?
Lineup change.
Lineup change. Adios.
Adios.
Looking at Granite, and everybody hooted and hollered and all that, and it was a really cool moment for Zach Granite, who deserves the call up. We'll talk more about it when he gets in the game, maybe later today. Off the plate, 2-1. Lineup change. Adios.
That's a great way to tell a player he's going to the show.
2-1 to Giavotella. Fly ball center field. Buxton's there. Now you probably got what, a telegram?
Oh, that's just so funny.
What was your moment? I mean, that's the. There you see the numbers for Zach Granite.
And that's why he's here. Hitting 360. I mean, at some point in time, when you're hitting 360 down there and you've hit 470 for a month.
Yeah, 470 in June. 2 down, and now Gentry. But what was your moment?
Well, I had a moment.
Another bunt. This one hard back to the mound.
We'll talk about it later when we have a moment. My moment when we have a moment.
You're watching Twins baseball presented by State Farm. by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. No score. Twins will hit now in the bottom of the third inning. They'll send the top of the order up. Dozier, Escobar, and Sano. Dozier at the second pitch he saw from Miley into right field, caught on the fly by Craig Gentry.
Bryant just a little bit off right now. That pitch he popped up in his first at bat was right there. It was a home run pitch for Bryant, and he just got under it.
Hitting .343 against lefties. What we've seen recently, and maybe the back issue that put him on the shelf for a couple of days is a reason for it. He's had some really productive hits to right field, including his triple that started the big inning in last night's game. But he's hit the ball sharply to right field to drive in a run with singles. He just has not, this is unlike Bryant, at least the Bryant we've come to know, he hasn't been able to pull the ball with authority.
Well, his swing is a little bit loopy right now. This is very uncharacteristic of Bryant. He's usually so good in terms of arms being level with the line of flight of the ball, which is why he's so good at hitting high fastballs, where a lot of guys are not. But he's been underneath the ball just a little bit. That's not characteristic of him. His bat has big end has dragged just a little bit because he's just been a little bit loopy, not as short to the ball.
And now 3-2 with Escobar on deck.
That's the problem with hitting, is that it really comes and goes. Your mechanics come and go. You can be really sharp for a while, sometimes a long while, and then you lose a little bit.
And Bryant strikes out on a pitch down and away. One down in the third inning. And let's get the big story from Audra Martin.
Guys, our big story is an 81-year-old record that is no more thanks to Aaron Judge. His 30th home run of the season surpassed Joe DiMaggio's franchise record for the most home runs by a rookie. And how poetic that shot actually landed in Monument Park, not too far from the DiMaggio plaque. He's on pace now to break another record, which of course be Mark McGwire's of 49 home runs in a season by a rookie. Guys,
I am looking forward to seeing him play when we go to, well, actually the Yankees come here first right after the All-Star break. Inside 1-1, mindful that I'm not going to have to try to pitch to him.
Right, and even more importantly, not stand 60 feet 6 inches away from him. There were only probably two guys that really concerned me when I played either shortstop or third base later on in my career, where I actually had it in mind, like, oh, this is uncomfortable. One was
Winfield, I'm guessing.
One was Dick Allen, and the other one was Big Frank Howard.
Oh, really? No,
well, Winnie too, to some degree, but he didn't hit rockets through the infield like those other guys could.
Chopped foul, 2-2. .38 pitches, 21 strikes for Miley, a strike percentage of 55. He hasn't walked anyone. He has given up 3 hits. Fouled away. Talked with Escobar today about his 4th of July. And you have to remember, 2 weeks ago he got his green card. He's working towards U.S. citizenship. Still going to take a few years for that to happen. But he said, yeah, this was a really special 4th of July for him. When you make the commitment that he's made to this country, and the country is celebrating its independence and its birthday, for us, it was just another 4th of July. But for him, it was not. It was a very special day. He's made a commitment to this country. Living in Miami now and hoping to become a U.S. citizen in a few years. And he swings and misses on a 3-2 pitch. 2 down. Before the first swing, make your picks for the T-Mobile Home Run Derby Bracket Challenge. With a little luck, you and 3 friends may be going to the 2017 World Series. Thanks to T-Mobile. Make your picks at MLB.com. Bracket Challenge. 2 down, and now Sano.
So far today, we're seeing the good Miley. We're seeing the stuff that Jim Palmer told me he certainly possesses and ought to be able to get hitters out with.
Foul.
What he's doing today differently than previous, he's throwing the ball over. He's not getting behind nearly as much. Started out that way in the first inning, but the Twins couldn't capitalize, and now he's kind of found the strike zone a little bit.
1 strike to Sano. Driven deep to left.
He found that strike zone.
Gone. A bullet into the left field seats, and it's 1-0.
There's nothing like your first at bat, seeing 5 pitches and getting a base hit, and then you know exactly what the guy's got. And then on top of that, he gets behind you on the first pitch of your second at bat, comes in with a fastball that you're looking for, and then you tee off on it. Fastball right there. Oh no, it wasn't. It was some little cutter or something different, more like a batting practice fastball. We see a lot of that in batting practice from Miguel Sano.
And now Robbie Grossman singled his first time up. And Grossman takes a strike over the inside corner. One and one. Outside, 2-1.
I think over time, Miguel Sano should get to the point where he's absolutely devastating against most left-handed pitchers. I can understand where right-handers with a good breaking ball would mess with him a little bit, but I got to believe that as he continues to grow up here in the big leagues, learn about himself and the pitchers, that he is just going to tear up left-handed pitching.
3-1 to Grossman. Sharply hit and into left center field. That'll get Vargas to the plate with a man aboard. Grossman 2 for 2. Vargas struck out with 2 men aboard in the first inning. Checked at first base. 43 at bats as a right-handed batter. 6 hits, a double, a home run, 4 walks, and 14 strikeouts. Almost 1 strikeout for every 3 at bats. Ball 1.
His right-handed swing, we talked about a little bit about how he pushes off early from his back leg, but he also is either consciously or subconsciously very, very pull conscious. He's trying to hit as a la Buxton. See, you see he's committed. His front hip and his hands are already coming forward on fastball speed, and then he has to try to check his swing and lay off that curveball. James Rowson is, when he's working with Vargas, is let the ball come to you. Get back there on the back leg and let the ball come to you. Don't go get it. Let it come to you.
Swing and a miss. 2-1.
You know, Trey, see that pitch right there cannot be hit over the left field fence. That was a hit the ball over the left field fence swing, and that pitch can't be hit there. I'm not trying to turn Kenny Vargas into a slap to right field hitter, but you have to pick the pitches that you can hit.
That one hit to left, and it's down for a hit. And Grossman checks in at second base, and that'll give Rosario a chance. 3 straight 2-out hits, starting with the Sano home run.
So a little better right there. He was still a little overcommitted, but he kept his hands back just enough, and the ball was up high, just high enough where he could muscle the ball in the left center. Now Eddie Rosario, who has really been pounding the ball. He's had good at bat after good at bat. 3 hits last night,
including this one against a left-hander
and a tough left-hander.
Brett. He'll face Miley here. Miley's been much better against lefties than righties. But so far for Rosario, it hasn't mattered a lick whether the guy's right-handed or left-handed. He's got about even splits, and he takes strike 1.
what matters to Rosario is balls or strikes. The strike zone is what matters to Eddie. I mean, when he's been in a really good streak swinging at balls in the strike zone, but he's also been lucky because pitchers are throwing it in the strike zone.
Down and in, and it's 1-1.
He'll go through streaks where he's swinging at everything, and when he gets in one of those streaks, and as we look at his splits, as Dick said, he hit very, very well against left-handers. But he'll get in streaks where a pitcher ought not even throw it close to the strike zone. Right now, he's dialed in pretty well.
The Baltimore dugout, 1-2. Hitting nearly 400 since the middle of June. Two and two.
That's a really, really nice take by Eddie right there. You see him swing at that pitch a lot against left-handers when he's not seeing the ball well, he's not swinging well. That's a strikeout pitch from Miley right there, and Eddie was able to lay off of it.
Back. And with Rosario hitting well, Buxton improving at the plate, Kepler's been steady, and now he's improving. You can understand why it took the Twins so long to get Zach Granite up here. Guys hit 470 in the month of June, but there's no place for him to play up here on a regular basis. He'll have a few days at least here to elbow his way into the lineup. 2-2 to Rosario. Poked down the left field line, chased by Rickard, and a foul ball. He did not make the catch, but it's a foul ball. And Rickard, unaccustomed to playing here at Target Field, of course, looked like he got a little tentative as he crossed the foul line.
Well, the ball fooled him a little bit, and he was coming over and in for it, and then he had to go back, and I think he lost his concentration about where the ball was. When he had to redirect, when he had to all of a sudden turn and go back just a little bit, then he lost where he was on the wall. And you're right, he did get a little tentative as he approached the fence.
Rosario gets at least one more swing here. We'll see if the Twins can take advantage of the extra out. Chopped up the line. And fair ball. And that'll end the inning. Miguel Sano hit a line drive home run to left, his 21st home run of the year, to put the Twins up 1-0.
Of Bartolo Colon in our Core's Cold Hard Facts is how baseball can come full circle. Colon was the starting pitcher in the final game of Paul Molitor's baseball career. Molitor went 2 for 4 off the pitcher. Last night he joked around saying it just shows your age and shows how long he's been in the game when you know that your manager once was one of your opposing hitters. He also joked around that Bartolo Colon, it's nice having the clubhouse because he can swing a bat if you need him to, but he says it's going to be very valuable to have that kind of leadership if he does get the chance to come back up to the big leagues. Guys.
Thank you, Audra. Colon famously hit a home run in San Diego, I believe it was, after not displaying much offensive prowess. He won't be asked to do any hitting should he make it up here to the big league team. 1 strike. The leadoff man in the 4th, Joey Rickard. What would you call Colon? He's 44 years old. Would you call him a
viejo?
Well,
that's
quadragenarian. Is that even a word?
I have no idea. I would call him a specimen.
Okay.
Hey, anybody that's still pitching has pitched for 20 years and he's still trying to do it at age 44 and still might. Good for him.
Left center field. Long run for Buxton. Back pocket. No problem. 1 down. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, I maybe created a word. Colon is a quadragenarian. We want to say a very happy birthday to a centenarian. Muriel Larson today in Hopkins is celebrating her 100th birthday. A loyal Twins viewer, and we hope, Muriel, that you have a very special day with friends and family. Happy birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Muriel. Congratulations.
Manny Machado, the batter, went down swinging his first time up. Ripped to left. And maybe the only way to get this guy out is to strike him out, because it seems like every ball he hits is hit pretty hard. A 1-out single. That'll bring up Scope. Scope bounced into a double play. His first time up. Mejia had just 1 ground ball double play prior to his start against the Angels, and he got 2 double play grounders in his 7-inning effort, and got one in the first inning here today. That's hit a long way to left, and the Orioles have taken the lead. Wow. Jonathan Scope hitting his 18th home run of the year, and it's 2-1 Baltimore.
Scope's a guy who can strike out a lot, but he does. But he also hits the ball out of the ballpark. He's having a very, very nice year. And guys like this, when you throw them cookies up in the zone, as you see right there, I mean, there's a changeup that Mejia knew immediately. Just a nothing changeup right in. I mean, belt high, middle, and that's what you're paid to do. Those are the pitches you have to do this with. So Mejia, who started the first 3 innings with an excellent changeup, both in terms of speed and location. He's thrown a couple now, not good locations, and he hasn't really set it up well with the fastball either.
Jones struck out. First time he faced Mejia. First pitch of fastball up. And now 2-0.
So much of the time, as you see Mejia start to lose his mechanics here just a little bit, so much of the time somebody will hit the ball hard, and then all of a sudden the young guy will start trying to overthrow, trying to make the perfect pitch, where he wasn't making perfect pitches in the first couple of innings. He was just throwing good strikes in reasonable locations, but he was throwing a lot of strikes. And all of a sudden we say, well, oh my gosh, they hit one off me. I've got to make this perfect and this perfect. And that's backwards.
3-1. The measure Scopes home run at 455 feet. Mejia patting himself on the chest saying, hey, my bad. Hasn't walked anyone, has come back from a couple of 3-ball counts. But this time he walks Jones. And another dangerous right-handed batter at Mark Trumbo. He has had more trouble against left-handed batters than right. Lefty's hitting .319 against him. See that often from left-handers who feature a good changeup. Sometimes they're reluctant to throw that pitch. Strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, that's generally the case. You make a good point. They don't like to throw, most of the time, you don't throw changeups left-handers to left-handers. And so he's got a good enough fastball and slider combination to get left-handers out. That's just a function of him not throwing enough strikes with both of those pitches.
It's one of the issues the Twins had with Hector Santiago. Santiago giving up until his last start a .500 batting average to left-handers, which is unheard of.
That's unheard of.
1-1. Busted his bat, and Adrianza makes the catch. 2 down. Ordinarily, I'm working with pitchers up here. And they love that sound, but I can't believe as a hitter or someone like me who appreciates craftsmanship and the effort to make a major league bat. That's not a pleasant sound at all.
I think it's a great sound by an opposing hitter, for an opposing hitter to make.
Here's Mancini.
See, I'm actually with your pitcher partners on that. I actually like pitchers to pitch inside. I like them to be effective inside so that they can be effective outside, and that's the way it has to work. And so I like to see guys coming inside and getting hitters out.
1 strike.
With purpose in there.
One foul, 2 strikes.
I don't want it to happen to all those artisan crafted Twins bats that you like so well, but the opposing team, you bet.
Hey, you've seen the bats; they almost look like pieces of furniture.
They're
now.
beautiful now, and really hard. Man, the big end of those bats, the grain and the degree of hardness on the bats. I think it's one of the reasons why the ball's going so far.
Absolutely,
now, I think
the maple bat.
Those maple bats have been perfected now. Timmy Laudner brought up a really good point about that. Maybe we'll talk about that when we get a chance.
Fouled away. To my knowledge, Joe Mauer is still the only Twins batter who swings an ash bat. Everybody else has gone to maple. And I saw Joe in batting practice a week or so ago, and he's got a maple bat that he has tried. 0-2. One and 2. Pitch count decent for Mejia. Just 51 pitches. He's hoping he's near the end of his 4th inning.
It was way more than decent coming into this inning.
Yeah.
He's running up there, running the count up there just in this inning alone, and just rushing a little bit. body getting ahead of his arm, trying to do a little too much. See, there's a great example of it right there. And Castro, you see him push his glove and stay back. Timmy Lauder said yesterday, he said, I think I spent my whole career, as we look at the last pitch, he's ahead of himself, his arm's behind, and he misses badly. And Timmy Lauder said, I think I spent my whole career as a catcher saying, stay back, keep your arm up, front shoulder at me. Stay back, arm up, front shoulder at the glove.
2-2. Bouncer to short, should end the inning. Rozier flips to first. Orioles get a long home run with a man aboard from Jonathan Schoop, and now they lead 2-1.
Of home run hitting all-stars. Miguel Sano got the Twins on the board first, 1-0 Twins, but then a hanging changeup, and all-star Jonathan Schoop hit the upper deck. Just exactly what an all-star is supposed to do with that kind of pitch right there. These guys are going to have some fun in a couple of days.
Adrianza will lead off the Twins' fourth. He takes strike one. Adrianza singled to center with 1 out in the second. The Twins shortstop will be followed by Buxton and Castro in the fourth inning. Swing and a miss, 0-2. And the dirt. 1-2. Orioles have to be happy with what Miley's done so far, but they were thrilled with what Kevin Gausman did last night through 3 innings. The line foul. The Twins started to come back, couple of runs in the fourth, and breaking the game open, taking the lead for good in the fifth.
Well, they're going to have similar kind of approaches here with Miley, although the stuff is very different. You have to give Miley a chance to implode here a little bit, because he'll throw a lot of pitches if you let him.
Burns a fastball in the outside corner for a strikeout. That'll bring up Buxton. Twins fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app, take Fox Sports North and Twins baseball with you wherever you go. Here's Buxton swinging away at a comebacker to the mound, reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning. I think the next step from Buxton. When it happens, I don't know, but we'll start to see more drives through the gap, and that's when it's going to be fun to watch him run.
Man.
You know, he's getting line drive hits to the outfield now. Ground balls hit up the middle, 1-1. But when he starts driving the ball to the gaps, which Twins hope starts happening soon, they're going to have a very destructive offensive weapon in their hands. Slap foul, 1-2.
Well, the process is going to be worth it at some point in time. It's going to be, it has been a little painful. It's going to be painful at times for a while, but this process of getting him comfortable with big league approach.
2-2.
It will work.
You a big believer in determining what a hitter's trying to do by watching the foul balls?
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no question. You can tell. You can tell first and foremost by how his foot's landing, where his front hip is when his foot lands, and after that you can tell what he's trying to do by his takes, and by where the foul ball is going. Sometimes you see some guys just throw too hard for some hitters, right? And so their foul balls they're going to be behind. But most of the time when a guy's behind, he's waiting along much longer.
It's deep to the right field corner, but it'll spin back into the seats.
So we look at him from the side here. He's back. Now he sees the ball, and you see that swing right there stayed at the plate. He stayed over his legs, and the ball was back on the plate. That's a much better swing for Byron. That's what he's going for right now.
Full count. And he took ball 4. Fell behind, worked the count full. We saw even on that foul ball, the point of contact was the front edge of the plate. It wasn't the foot out in front of the plate. Right.
He's trying to let the ball come to him. That's the whole point of what they're working on right now. Get his legs in position as a foundation, so that he can wait and see the ball and then react to the ball rather than making an assumption. You know, here's the thing about hitting. The front hip speed of opening has to be commensurate with the speed of the ball. So you cannot be on fastball speed with your hip and hit a breaking ball. You can't do it.
Down and into Castro, trying to bunt his way aboard. He didn't quite get the bunt up the line far enough, and Miley made a nice play to throw him out for the final out of the second inning. Here's why he tried to bunt. There's nobody in the vicinity over near third base. And he just bunted it about halfway up the baseline, and Miley made a really good play. Inside, down 2-0.
Well, he should do it again.
I was going to say.
I mean, if you're going to, I believe in my heart, I know for sure that I could square around and I could bunt the ball toward shortstop and third base where the pitcher couldn't get to it. I just.
Scope starts a double play with the first baseman Mancini keeping a foot on the bag. It's 2-1 Baltimore, going to the 5th. idea. Maybe first Twins game ever for our Pepsi fan of the game.
Very cute.
And Mejia gave up a 2-run home run in the 4th, but other than that, he's done pretty well again here today. Here's what we were trying, or at least I was trying to discuss before. There's the arm slot, and the ball comes out of the hand, and then it does 3 different things.
Well, exactly right. You're right on. If you're a hitter, you're looking at that, where the arm is and what the arm speed is. All 3 of those pitches, same place in the release point, same type of arm speed, and all 3 of them went different directions. Have I said it's tough to hit in the big leagues?
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to say this, and tipping the cap to you and everybody else who does it at this level. Hitting has got to be the toughest thing to do in sports, and then how guys can switch hit. I can't. I brush my teeth with my left hand. I couldn't begin to brush my teeth with my right hand. Bouncer to third. And a quick out here in the 5th inning. And so you got somebody like Vargas who's having so much more success from one side of the plate than the other. And you hear it constantly. Robbie Grossman, prior to this year, had an imbalance where he was perceived to be a much better right-handed batter than left. I don't know how you guys do that, and do it in some cases with power.
Well, I appreciate the compliment very much. Most of us start switch hitting because we weren't convinced that whichever way we started was going to get us where we wanted to go. And you know, generally speaking, a right-hand hitter will have more success against a left-handed pitcher, and vice versa. A left-handed pitcher will have more success. It's just easier. The ball's breaking into you instead of away from you. You're looking across the kind of across the line of flight to the opposite shoulder of the pitcher, so you just see the ball. I think you see the ball better.
Swing and a miss, 1-1.
So you can understand the reason why a guy would think, well, you know, if I can do that, that would be really helpful. But then it does get a little tougher from there. You do have to work on it quite a bit.
And you talk to, well, contemporaries of yours, Ken Singleton, Chili Davis, and they say, oh, it's maddening because you might feel really good from one side of the plate and completely lost on the other side of the plate.
And once you feel that way, then you feel like, well, let's say I was feeling much better left-handed than right-handed. Now I think, you know what, I've got to really work on my right-handed swing. Well, I'm going to see five right-handers in a row, and I need to hit left-handed for 5 games in a row. Yeah, I got to take some batting practice left-handed, right? So that's a process too, figuring that out.
1-2, and a foul. Giavatelli hit a fly ball to Buxton his first time up. They're in the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium. Milwaukee leading the Yankees 3-2. Significant to the Twins because if Milwaukee wins that game, the Twins will have the best second-place record in the American League. It have just 3 teams with a better record than them, the 3 division leaders, Boston, Cleveland, and Houston. That might not mean much in early July, but by the end of September and early October, will be the basis perhaps for the Twins getting into the playoff field as a wild card team. 1-2. 2-2.
Well, I thought going into this series that the most important thing, even more important than what other clubs are doing or anything, was going to be, can you win this series against Baltimore? If you win 3 out of 4 games, you gain 2 games on 500 to put yourself 4 games over 500 going into the break, and you've put yourself in a really, really good spot to open the second half of the season.
And
there's the good changeup in a good location. Good to see him get that one back, get that feel, because he's going to need that against when the lineup turns over. He's going to need this pitch. He likes his changeup a lot. We saw in the dispersion of pitches graphic that we showed you. He likes his changeup about twice as much as he likes his slider, 20% to 10%. And he's going to need that pitch.
He has not given up a hit since Scope's 2-run home run. To right, Grossman makes the catch, and Mejia faces just 3 men on the top of the 5th.
circle with Joyce and Ronnie from Tracy, Minnesota, here celebrating their 51st wedding anniversary. You'll notice, though, that it said 50 because they actually celebrated the 50th here as well. You guys must be big baseball fans.
Yes, yes, we are.
Now, I have to ask, 51 years, that's very impressive. Is there a secret to 51 years of wedded bliss?
Oh, I don't know about that. Just patience and kindness and love.
And you told me a second ago that these $100 worth of scratch-off tickets we're going to give you are great, but you already won, right?
I already won. I did. I knew the minute I saw him that he was the one. Yeah.
Well, if that doesn't melt your heart, I don't know what will, guys. We'll send it back upstairs to you.
Oh, that's very nice. Tracy, Minnesota, down in the southwestern part of the state, kind of between Marshall and Slayton.
Love at first sight, turned it into 51 years. That's a very special story. That's cool.
On the ground, Dozier hits to Scope, who throws to first. One away. Join us Saturday, August 5th for the Women's Baseball Experience. Twins clinicians and members of the coaching staff will be providing instruction at Target Field. Participants will get the full experience of what it's like being a Major League Baseball player. To learn more and register, visit twinsbaseball.com/women's clinic. One down, and now here's Escobar. 0-for-2. Miley just keeps pitching very effectively, efficiently. He's given up 6 hits. But the only damage done on the Sano home run. Fastball over the inside corner. Escobar hooks it deep, but foul down the left field line.
As we've been talking about, the Orioles think that Miley has all the stuff to be effective in the major leagues, and he just hasn't put it together in terms of staying ahead of hitters and being able to throw all his pitches consistently for strikes. But he's doing that today.
Another grounder to Scope. 2 down. And now Sano, who singled to right center field and homered to left. Serving as the designated hitter today.
Well,
what he did to get the Twins on the board.
Got a ball right in the middle of the plate, and when he hits it on the line, it's the sound is really fun. The lack of time it takes to get out of the ballpark is fun to watch. He can really hit them.
Inside, ball 1. 21 home runs for Sano. The average going northward again, up into the 280s now at 281. 2-1.
See that take right there on that breaking ball. Sano has a tendency to see that ball from left-handers. Most of it, right-handed hitters, we were just talking about switch hitting. You turn around here, you're hitting right-handed against left-handers. The ball's breaking in, you just see it better. Change up there that he laid off of it nicely. 3-0 count. If I were Paul Mulder, I'd absolutely turn him loose here. Get a ball from the middle of the plate in. If you don't get it, take it. Yep.
Never saw a strike, and he draws a walk. We'll bring Grossman to the plate.
So much easier for Sano, and you can see just in his body language and his takes how against left-handers the breaking balls aren't on his mind nearly so much. Against right-handers, he'll swing and miss. Be way out in front of breaking balls, but left-handers, he sees them better.
Here's Grossman, pair of singles. Inside, ball 1. You're thinking, hey, it's been a while since Grossman's gone deep. You're right. June 2nd in Anaheim.
He's seeing Miley pretty well so far today. He's had good at bats.
Bounced foul, 1-1.
What Miley's done so far is spot his fastball pretty well. Stayed out of the middle of the plate fairly well. showing enough fastballs that then the big slow curve and the changeup are effective, and then he'll zip a fastball in there like that.
2-1.
So when you have a pitcher like Miley who's throwing 91, 92, very important for him to show guys fastballs in there, make them think, oh, I might get a fastball to hit, and then get into fastball counts like this, 2-1, and throw something else.
Three and 1 with Vargas on deck.
Tried to do it there. Try to set him up with an inside fastball, then come back with breaking ball, and Grossman did a good job of recognizing it, laying off on that low breaking ball.
2 walks issued by Miley. This is his 8th 3-ball count. Ran the count full to both Dozier and Escobar in the 3rd inning. Ended up striking them both out on pitches that looked like they were each going to be ball 4 if not swung on. And now Grossman takes a walk, so he's reached all 3 times, and Vargas will come up with the tying run at second. Coming into today, Vargas has enjoyed his at-bats against the Orioles, 7 games and a very good batting average. And he's 1 for 2 today. The big hit in the ball game last night is double.
Sure was.
In a couple of runs. And that again is a left-handed batter.
Right. Well, and most of his at-bats against Baltimore have been left-handed. See if he can get something going here right-handed. He's got 1 hit so far. See if he can start getting hot.
On the outside corner. 1 home run from this side of the plate, and it was one of the longest home runs ever hit in this ballpark. Man. So the power is there. Ouch! Oh, Miley, I think, is going to be okay. The splintered end of the bat helicoptered out towards him, and from my view, it looked like it missed him. Thankfully, the inning ends, and Miley, he just flustered after having a close call. The Twins strand 2 in the 5th. It's still 2-1.
Well, this is scary. That ball is just blistering out there. Wow.
State Farm. Orioles will hit in the 6th inning as Mejia begins his 3rd trip through the Baltimore batting order. Gave up just 1 hit through the first trip through the batting order. Gave up 2 hits and a walk, including the Scope home run the second time. 1-0. driven hard into the left field corner. And it'll go all the way into the corner for a double. Joey Rickard will round second and hold up there. Strong throw by Rosario. So Rickard with 2 of the 4 Baltimore hits. He got the bunt single to start the ball game.
Well, again, that's up in the middle of the zone is not really where you want to pitch. And Rickard, pretty good little right-hand hitter, especially against left-handers. Eddie Rosario was thinking the ball might carry him back to him off the short wall there, but it scooted by, and Rickard had an easy double.
Here's Machado, lined a single to left field in the 4th inning, and then scored on the next pitch when Schoop clobbered a home run. There's a bunt up the line, and it'll go foul. So here's Machado, who's been pounding the ball all over target field, and he decides he wants to try to bunt for a hit. And had it stayed fair, he would have had a hit.
Yep. Well, he's been pounding the ball all over target field. As we look at his manager, Buck Showalter, and I was just going to say, if I'm Buck, I might be thinking, oh, you know, Manny, I mean, I get it. You get the guy over, you get a hit, but
hit a double.
Son, trade places with him out there. But it's not a bad play at all. It's just that when you have an RBI guy that's starting to heat up like that, you kind of want to see him swing the bat, I think.
Taken low. One and one.
His job right here is get it back together and minimize the damage here. Keep the Twins within striking distance. You try hard not to give up this run, but if you're going to give it up, just give up this one.
And that's under Escobar's glove. Rickard to third. He'll be waved around, and Rosario gathers himself, but Machado checks in at second. That's what you were talking about.
That's what Buck had in mind. Just trade places with him.
So it's 3-1 now, and that ball rocketed just under Escobar's glove for a double.
This is a no man's land right here for Eduardo Escobar. This ball is hammered on a line right at his feet. Not much you can do about that. That ball just, that's like getting a fastball thrown by you at the plate. I mean, just sometimes balls are just hit too hard.
Schoop hit a home run 455 feet from home plate with a man aboard. It was Machado. It's a strike over the inside corner. Third time through the order is not going too well for Mejia, with a pair of doubles so far. One and one. th pitch of the afternoon for Adalberto Mejia. On the ground, and Vargas gobbles it up to the bag, and on the play, Machado goes to third. Fox Sports North and Positive Coaching Alliance will honor 5 double goal coaches when the Twins take on the Yankees July 18th at Target Field. Double goal coaches embody the ideals of striving to win while teaching life lessons through sports. Steve McGuigan, youth baseball coach from Egan, will be recognized during the game. And to learn more about Positive Coaching Alliance, visit positivecoach.org. Twins will bring the infield in here for Adam Jones. Struck out in the second, walked in the fourth. Castro, ball 1.
That's a good play right there. That was not an easy block, and he did it very, very well. You see where this ball lands. That's right on the plate and bounced high. Hard for a catcher to know exactly what that one's going to do when it hits the ground, whether it's going to hit the plate and scoot or bounce up. Castro saved a run right there, at least for now.
Inside, 2-0. Similar situation late in the game. It was in the 8th inning, in fact. And Rosario was at third, 1 out. And now they'll go ahead and intentionally walk Jones. But Rosario coming home on the hard ground ball hit right at the shortstop. Now with the intentional walk, the Twins middle infield will play back, and one would think try to get Trumbo to hit into a double play. Only in Minnesota can you appreciate the rich history and culture of the Ojibwe band at the Mille Lacs Indian Museum and Trading Post. You can learn how to make moccasins, porcupine jewelry, applique beading, and kids craft in classes, or watch cooking demonstrations of traditional Ojibwe food. Find travel inspiration at exploreminnesota.com and share your favorites with #OnlyNMN. Kind of gratified, I guess, as a native Minnesotan, that so many of the Twins players are going to be spending the All-Star break in Minnesota rather than going home. Many of them spending some time in the Gull Lake area.
Oh, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. In fact, Brandon Kintzler just made reservations to spend the All-Star break there. Then 10 minutes later, the manager calls and says, "Hey, you're going to Miami."
I understood his first answer was, "I really can't. I've got this place rented." And
yeah, I want to try fishing the whitefish chain. Right. Here's Trumbo. Infield back all the way around. And Trumbo bounces it toward the hole. Deflected off of Escobar's glove. Another Oriole run will score. And it's not been the tidiest ball game on the left side of the Twins infield here. Machado will score from third, and Escobar tried to pick it and started ground ball double play, but caromed off his glove.
Yeah, tough play is because he couldn't quite get to the short hop. That ball was right in between hops, and if you don't get to that short hop, it's total luck if the ball goes in your glove. Just couldn't quite get there.
Mancini 0 for 2. Activity in the Twins bullpen now, and Mancini pounds one foul. Well, it's interesting to hear you say that. All those years when we admired your fielding prowess, the soft hands, and the range that you showed, and you said, "Nah, a lot of times it's just luck." Well, that's what you said, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't say that I didn't always get to that short hop.
Slow bouncer. How slow? 1. And that's all they'll get. First and third now, 2 down, with the Orioles leading 4-1. As it turned out, too slow. Wellington Castillo will bat, and Buddy Boucher's getting loose. Talked to Craig Breslow today, and he's encouraged that he'll be able to come back shortly after the All-Star break, give the Twins 3 left-handed relievers again. Paul Molitor talked about how things are really in flux, the roster is, regarding who's going to come back and when, whether you're talking about Hector Santiago, Craig Breslow, Joe Mauer. Strike. 2 runs for the Orioles in the 4th, now 2 here in the 5th. And Mejia trying to put the clamps on the Orioles here and have them strand a couple of runners. Still pretty good offensive catcher. Outside, 1-1.
Yeah, he got off to a really hot start and became a bit of a cult hero in Baltimore, I understand, with his name, the chance of beef through the Orioles stands.
1-1. A long way, but very, very foul. 1-2. Cornerstones of the Orioles' success in their history has been good pitching and good defense, and they're not doing either really well right now. That said, they've got a 4-1 lead here today.
Well, they've got half of the recipe that Earl Weaver always proposed. He wanted to have great starting pitching and guys that could hit 3-run home runs. And they've got the latter, that's for sure. That it's the former ingredient in that recipe that has been elusive for him this year.
One and two to Castillo. That drifts outside.
And you know, I've been thinking about this about Earl Weaver and about the 3-run home run. It's not just the fact you get 3 quick runs, but it's how it happens. And we've seen the Twins now in 2 games in a row. Now they scored a lot of runs yesterday without a home run, but you get a couple of guys on with after 2 out.
I think he went. Strike 3 ends the inning. Orioles start the inning with a couple of doubles. They both come around to score. Now it's 4-1. Half of the 6th inning, down 4-1, and he's been a pretty good guy to have at the plate under any circumstances. Hitting .331 over the last 39 games, just .254 in the first 40.
Even splits here, and you can see really has heated up his last 39 games, and even more so the last few. In his last 23 games, he's in close to 400. And you asked me a little while ago, Dick, about if you can tell about where a guy's found the ball off, what he's trying to do. And you can also tell how a guy takes pitches. He has looked so comfortable at the plate. He's never looked out of balance. He's never looked fooled these last 23 games.
And he takes strike 1. In all 9 sections of the strike zone, he's had some production. Behind now 0-2.
Yeah, but they just show balls in the strike zone there. They should that thing needs to expand for Eddie Rosario a little bit. That rectangle needs to be taller and wider.
From batter's box to batter's box, right?
If he learns to keep it just in that rectangle right there, he's going to be one fine hitter.
0-2. Just missed 1 and 2. Hey, we're happy to hear and report to you that Cleveland manager Terry Francona has been released from the hospital in Cleveland today and hopes to rejoin the team after the All-Star break, but will not manage the American League All-Star team. Mancini plays a high hop, goes to the bag, 1 away. And there's the updated hot zone.
So our very talented folks in the production truck just made his hot zone bigger, just for me.
1 down, and now Adrianza. And strike 1. Clint Frazier hit a walk-off 3-run home run. The Yankees beat the first place Brewers 5-3. Inside, 1-1.
What should we say, man? Twins! Yeah!
Adrianza with a single in the second, called out on strikes in the fourth. And now inside 2-1. Told you Miley's last start wasn't good at all. He lasted an inning and 2/3, gave up 7 earned runs. This is by far his best outing since his start on May 21st, when he pitched 7 innings and gave up no earned runs against Toronto. Darren O'Day getting loose. 3-1 to Adrianza. Tapper to short. There's been a lot of those. Weak ground balls. 2 down. Twins baseball is presented by State Farm. Here to help life go right with the auto and renter's protection you deserve. Base is empty. 2 down. Byron Buxton reached in the fielder's choice and has walked. The last Twins hit was Vargas's soft line drive single to left back in the 3rd inning. Since then, Buxton's walked. Sano and Grossman each walked in the 5th. There hasn't been anything hit hard since Sano's home run. Toward the hole. Scope's going to try. Scope's going to try. And the ball bounds free. Buxton will get an infield hit. If he made that play with that runner, that would have been the play of the year from a shortstop.
Yeah, it would have taken a pulled hamstring for Byron not to beat that out. There's no way. You know what? I'm gonna show you how good a play this is. He makes an all-out lunge and gets a lot on this throw, and I would say that will get just about anybody. The fact that he made it that close is remarkable. But when you have this kind of speed, just like no chance.
Buxton has been on base all 3 times. Now an infield hit with 2 down, and that'll bring up Castro. Castro hasn't had much luck against Miley over the years. One of the reasons perhaps he tried to bunt for a hit in the 2nd. Chris Jimenez did a nice job last night catching. And a little unrealistic to expect any catcher to come back day game after a night game. So Castro got the start.
And when we look at where they're playing him, I mean, just square around and bunt the ball in the general direction of the shortstop or over toward 3rd base. I mean, they're giving you 1st and 2nd if you want it.
Swing and a miss. Castro swinging away in his 2nd at bat. He did try to bunt for a hit, just didn't get it up the line quite far enough.
He just didn't hit it hard enough.
Right.
He bunted it where the pitcher could play it, but if he gets it by the pitcher, it's runners on 1st and 2nd for Dozier with 2 out. You look at where they're playing. I mean, you have plenty of time to square around and just make solid contact in the direction of the 3rd base position. You know, especially if you don't handle a pitcher well. If a pitcher's giving you problems, you know, then just say, okay, Brian, I may not be able to drive Byron in from 1st base, but you might be able to drive Byron in or drive us both in. So I don't hit this guy very well. I'm gonna give us a first and second with 2 out.
Castro is 0 for 8 with 3 strikeouts against Miley.
Runner on second base, I'd say, you know what, you got to try to drive the runner and not leave it to somebody else. But for me, this is a little different.
Inside, and it's 2-1. Buxton was aboard on a fielder's choice in the second, a walk on the 4th down single, and he's made no attempt to try to steal a base. Fouled away, 2-2. Let's go down to Audra Martin.
Well, guys, Byron Buxton scoring from first on that routine single last night was actually something him and Gene Glenn talked about 2 months ago and have been working on ever since. He said that as he was rounding second, all he could think was, Gino, do not give me the stop sign. Do not give me the stop sign. He promised Gino he was going to get that done before the All-Star break, and as he was rounding third, he was thinking, wow, I got it done with 2 days left to go before the break. He said he was thinking home all the way, guys.
3-2 now to Castro. And Buxton will get an early break from first base here. With Dozier on deck. Full count to Jason Castro. There's a hit. Buxton around second. Flying to third.
Bottle it. Well.
And so Castro, with a full swing, did what he tried to do his first time up with a bunt. Just push it to the left side. First and third, 2 down, and now Dozier represents the tying run.
And Miley will not be pitching to him. Well, good job by Castro. Wait a long time so that you protect against the off-speed stuff. And he's got everything going in his favor. You can wait all the time in the world on that fastball when they're giving you the whole left side of the field. And now Buxton off with a pitch. He's thinking right here, bobble it, bobble it, bobble it, because if Rickard doesn't field that ball cleanly, Gene Glenn does not stop him.
Well, Miley took the ball game into the 6th. He's got a 4-1 lead, but he comes out with Brian Dozier facing O'Day when we come back.
Fast. I mean, flash. He's more speed than everybody in the team.
It's pretty unbelievable. Sometimes you see his legs going everywhere, and you're hoping he doesn't trip and fall.
In Spanish, Speedy González corre camino.
He's like a deer. It's like watching a baby deer hurdle fences. There's not too many people in this world that have speed like him.
Buxton's at third after his infield hit and Castro's outfield hit. Brian Dozier facing tough customer under any circumstances, particularly for Brian, who's 0 for 8 against Darren O'Day. O'Day struck him out looking last night. And pitch, and we saw O'Day throw a number of them last night. The fastball that from the release point almost looks like it rises to home plate.
Yeah, it's a really tough visual for a hitter when a guy's throwing from the release point down where he is, and then throws a high fastball that just, you know, it doesn't sink up there, so it keeps going straight. It gives the illusion of rising. It's a very, very tough visual.
1-0. 2-0.
Well, so if we're looking from where the hitter is, right behind the hitter, looking at that low release point, that was the breaking ball there. And so he's got one that kind of upshoots. He's got a breaking ball that swings hard from at the hitter's hip to away. He's got a sinker. It's tough.
2-0.
There's that sweeping break.
3-0.
Just low.
You know, one thing I've always thought, it has to make it more difficult when pitcher throws from a low angle like that. You basically take the batter's eye out of play, don't you? I mean, Dozier's looking almost field level at the release point, and he doesn't get the hitting background behind him. Might be taking here on 3-0.
I'd turn him loose.
And he hit him. And now they're loaded up for Escobar. With 2 outs, single hit batter. And now Escobar has a chance to deliver an awfully big hit. O'Day just pitching in his 3rd game of this series. He only faced 1 batter here Thursday night.
Well, he is kind of Baltimore's answer to Brian Shaw in Cleveland. He pitches an awful lot. But right now, at least that sequence of pitches to Brian Dozier, he just wasn't anywhere close to the way he usually is. His release point on all of his pitches way off. 4 pitches in a row. So the first one, here's the last one. Hits him right above the knee on the thigh there. But you can see all over the place, not even close to the strike zone.
Here is Escobar. Not close. Pitched Thursday, threw 3 pitches, struck out the only batter he faced. 16 pitches in the ball game last night, and he's thrown 5 pitches and hasn't come close to throwing a strike here this afternoon. One and 0. Checked his swing, took a strike. Left-handers are hitting just 111 against O'Day.
One of the reasons why I wanted Brian to have the hit sign 3-0. And I didn't mean hit sign, I mean hit him.
1-1. Hook foul, 1-2.
There's something about O'Day, and the something obviously is his release point, where he's from, from whence he throws and what his stuff is. But all of his stuff looks more intense than the miles per hour would indicate. So he's throwing fastballs by guys at 88 miles an hour, and he's throwing breaking balls that kind of lock guys up there. It just doesn't seem like it's that intense a pitch, but they all look tougher from this guy for some reason.
1-2 to Escobar. Check, and the pitch up. Oh, what a close call. Didn't miss being called a strike by much.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too high, actually.
That's the pitch that gave the Twins hitters a tough time last night. That fastball that is in the upper registry of the strike zone.
Twins don't really have anybody that's a real good high fastball hitter other than Brian Dozier. Everybody else pretty much low ball hitters.
2-2 to Escobar. Pop foul and out of play. Orioles trying to end a 5-game losing streak. For the first time in the 5 games, they've had a good start from their starting pitcher. pitch of the outing for O'Day. Got him. And the Twins fill the bases after the second out, but leave the bases full, and it's still 4-1.
Got on the board first. Miguel Sano with a rocket solo home run in the third inning. That wouldn't last long. Jonathan Scope, Orioles All-Star this year, did the same thing. Hanging changeup in the second deck, and then in the sixth inning, Orioles kind of broke it all open. Here's a play that wasn't made at third base. And then the Twins had a chance to get back into it here. The bases loaded. You look at the nasty stuff of Darren O'Day. The ball moving everywhere, into the hitters, away from the hitters, the high rising fastball, and then getting with a pretty good breaking ball right there.
And the Orioles with 2 in the fourth, 2 in the sixth, and now Gianvitello will lead things off. There's Mejia trying to complete 7 innings for the second start in a row. Outside, ball 1. Gianvitello, Gentry, and Rickard. Gianvitello 0 for 2, a fly to center, and a strikeout. Two and 0.
I think that Mejia will pitch as long as nobody's on base. I think he's out there to get through this inning. If he can, as we look at the pen, Matt Belisle loosened up, and I think that he's in the game as soon as there's a base runner, would be my guess.
And Escobar picks it up, fires in time. Nice recovery. He's had some hot smashes over there the last couple innings. That one he was able to knock down and make a play on.
Well, they call it, it hasn't been called the hot corner for 120 years for nothing. That's a bullet. It hits him in the wrist, the heel of the glove and wrist area. The one thing he does, he does a great job of not panicking. Find the ball, pick it up with your bare hand, and then make a strong throw. It's a nice play.
One down on the 7th, and now Craig Gentry. Second half of the year, Starts like this are going to be even more important than they are in the first half. Starts in excess of 6 innings to save wear and tear on the bullpen. Tried to bunt and missed. 1-2. It's the second time that Gentry's tried to bunt. He bunted it on the ground and Mejia threw him out in the 3rd inning. Rickard started the game by trying to bunt on Mejia.
One of these days we're going to show all of you out there watching Rod Carew's bunting style. We're going to show video of Rodney standing there with his head still, just standing in the batter's box and calmly laying the bunt down and then running. And then we're going to show what everybody else in the world does now, starting to run toward first base before they've gotten the ball down on the ground. And you're laughing because you know how much it angers me to to watch these guys try to bunt with their head moving like that. You might as well try to take a crow hop into a pitch when you're swinging. I mean, you
do the Happy Gilmore thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't bunt with your head moving.
3-2 now. More contemporary than Rod. Kenny Lofton was a tremendous
Kenny
bunter.
Lofton was phenomenal at it. He just stood there and bunted the ball and then ran. Brett Butler. Same way.
And now Mejia lost the number 9 batter. A 1-out walk. We'll see whether the Twins make a move. Let's go to Audra Martin and get our showstopper.
Guys, rookie Clint Frazier, the hero today in the Bronx. Yankees and Brewers tied in the 9th until Frazier walked things off in a huge way. 3-run shot to left field. Now keep in mind, he's only been in the big leagues for a week now, and he already has a double, 2 triples, and now 2 home runs. I'd say that's a solid start to a major league career, guys.
Put him in the home run derby.
Well, that's what the Yankees desperately need right now. Another young player come up from minor leagues that can pound the baseball.
Corey Knebel took the loss for the Brewers. Strike on the outside corner to Joey Rickard. And Mejia trying to wrap things up here in the 7th. He'll get at least 1 batter a 4th time here today.
Yep, I'm a little surprised. I said I thought maybe Paul would make a pitching change as soon as somebody got on.
And now a wild pickoff throw. And Rickard will round second, try for third. Vargas's throw across the diamond off target. And the Orioles are in business with a runner at third and 1 down. Throw actually hitting the runner.
Yep, very, very wild throw.
And Mejia trying to compose himself. Charged now with an error. Infield in. Twins need to be aware of the squeeze possibility here with Rickard at the plate. And Gentry at third. Tapped up the line. Foul. 2 strikes. So Mejia really needs a strikeout here. And then they'll come get him. I'll bet you $1 he doesn't face Manny Machado.
Well,
I lost $1, Jack Morris. I'm just trying to recoup my losses.
You're gonna have to get a little bit more of a solid bet than that. I would have lost $1 here that Mejia wouldn't have pitched to Rickard.
0-2. And changeup got a big strikeout. If Machado can be retired, and the Twins are going to make a pitching change here to try to do just that. So Mejia doesn't complete 7, but 6 2/3, and a couple of runs in the 4th, couple of runs in the 6th. By and large, I thought, had another decent outing here today. Orioles can score a lot of runs. They've proven that. Comes off the mound here. He won't be able to get a win. But he'll hope that Matt Belisle will be able to get Machado and keep it 4-1. bullpen the last 6 games has been outstanding. Teams won 5 of the last 6 games. And the bullpen a big reason, never more so than last night. And they shut the door, having had to come into the ball game in the 3rd inning. So we'll see if they can have a similar outing or one that fits in with the prior outings here this afternoon. Tough guy to get, Manny Machado, and Matt Belisle will try to get him.
Belisle's had an interesting first half of the season. There have been times when he's been terrific and times when he has just not even been close to getting anybody out, and he's got tough duty right now against Manny Machado.
Strike 1. He faced Machado last night, leading off the 7th inning. Machado got a single, but then later in the inning, Belisle got a double play grounder and only faced 3 men in the inning. Off the plate, 1-1.
I just don't know that even with Scope hitting behind him, I just don't know hitting behind Machado. I just don't know that I would give in to Manny and give him something to hit. I think I'd be of the mind to try to make him get himself out, throwing something like out there. Just stay out there, and if you walk him, then you figure out some way to strike out a strikeout prone Scope. But as good as Machado is, and as hot as he's been against the Twins in this series so far, boy, I would say, Manny, you're going to swing at a bad ball, or you're going to walk on down to first.
Ahead of him now, 1-2.
Oh,
slow breaking ball, and it's fouled back.
A lot of the plate on that one, and the reason Manny didn't hit it was because it was so slow. 75 miles an hour, a good 6 or 7 miles an hour slower than what the breaking ball he's thinking he might get.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
Oh man, it ended up down low in the strike zone, but Manny didn't miss that by much. That had a lot of the plate.
Wouldn't chase the high fastball.
Good try though, really good try. A lot of breaking balls, and then all of a sudden try to change the eye angle with something at 92 or 93. See if you sneak one by him up and out of the zone. Get him to swing at that ball. Nice try. Now I would imagine back out on the outside part of the plate with breaking balls. Coming in and up.
Zipped it in off the plate, and now a full count.
So here's the payoff pitch. High fastball missed, inside fastball missed. That's got to impress Machado just a little bit. He's throwing fastballs. I think he's got it again. Belisle's best pitch is that breaking ball in the outside corner that breaks off the plate. He's got to go back out there.
And he missed.
Yep, just couldn't throw it in. But I think we did see it. It was Manny's not going to hit a ball in the middle of the plate. No way, no how.
First and third now, and Scope to the plate. Machado not going to the All-Star game. Scope is. And he turned the game around in Baltimore's favor with a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Twins had a 1-0 lead at the time.
Got a high changeup from Mejia there in that for that home run. Got a real cookie. If you pitch this guy tough, like any other hitter, good or otherwise, you pitch him tough, you get him out. But you just, it's the middle of the plate is no. That one right there is, that's the dangerous one.
Scope would like to have another swing at that pitch.
That was probably just in enough at 93 miles an hour. So now that he got away with it, it's a pretty good purpose pitch. Now that it's 0-1 and he's showing him he might come in there. Now that result's pretty good.
1-1.
But if Belisle can't find the feel of that outside corner closer than that on the breaking ball, he has trouble. That's his bread and butter out there, and he throws hard enough to impress hitters to get in a hurry with, because they might get a fastball, but then he's got to be able to pay it off with that breaking ball on the outside corner.
right center and deep. But Grossman's there now coming in a step. He makes the catch. A couple of walks on an error don't amount to much. It's still 4-1. With the only man to have thrown a no-hitter this year, Edison Volquez, put on the 10-day disabled list, left knee tendonitis. Don't know how serious it is. You can do that. Teams have done that even without the All-Star break, just to give a pitcher a bit of a break and bring him back in the second half a little fresher. 4-8 for the Marlins, an ERA of 4.19, but of course the no-hitter. And now in the 7th inning, Michael Givens will lead things off. He's been really good for the Orioles, as the 6-0 mark and the 2.36 ERA would tell you.
This guy's nasty. He really is. He's also got a kind of a sidearm slinging delivery. He throws hard from that release point. It has a sweeping breaking ball. He even saw a pretty good changeup the other night when he was in the game. So tough duty for the Twins. They're going to have to grind out some at bats here to score any runs against a pretty good Baltimore bullpen.
Sano's reached all 3 times. Inside, ball 1. Single to right field in the first, homer to left in the third, then drew a walk in the 5th. Twins have left 5 men on without scoring in the last 2 innings. So there have been opportunities.
What I was getting at earlier, didn't finish the thought, but about why Earl Weaver liked the 3-run home run so much is not just the fact that it's 3 quick runs, but it's when it happens. And this is a perfect example. The Twins have gotten a lot of base runners after 2 were out, and what you need is a ball out of the ballpark. Then it's hard. Givens throws the ball by Sano right in under his hands, but it's really, really hard after 2 are out to string a whole bunch of hits together to get any real big innings. The big innings happen as we watch a really good fastball right in the perfect spot to a power hitter.
That was a pretty swing. I enjoyed watching him swing and miss. 2-2 now.
But you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, it's hard to string enough hits together up here against big league pitching and defense if you're trying to get runs after 2 are out with a bunch of hits without hitting the ball out.
Now full count. Grossman on deck. Up and in, a foul tip. 98-mile-per-hour fastball striking out Sano. 1 down here in the 7th.
Pretty steady diet of in on Miguel Sano. He couldn't lay off of that. That's a pitch right there. I almost feel like, I mean, he's not going to hit that ball. That's just not his strength. If it's close like that, you either I think you just take it and hope it's a ball. He's not going to hit it.
Outside ball one. You saw Fox strikes presented by Carrier there. The swing and miss by Sano. 1-0 to Grossman. He's got 2 hits and a walk today too. One and one.
Last pitch to Sano to strike him out would have hit Don Baylor right in the shoulder. And he'd have spit on the ground. He'd have spit on it, trotted down to first.
My image of Don, even before he came to the Twins and helped out in 1987, he'd get hit by a pitch and the ball would lifelessly drop in the batter's box, you know? I mean, it wouldn't deflect any place. It would just hit him and drop there.
Timmy Lauder and I were talking about that before the game. We were telling a lot of stories and laughing in the dining room earlier. We were talking about Baylor, and Timmy said Randy Bush was on the bench one time when we were playing against Baylor, and Baylor got drilled in the left tricep, and Randy Bush yelled out, "Check the ball, check the ball."
Swing and a miss, and Grossman strikes out. 2 down.
Well, there's that changeup, and for Gibbons to come up with that good a changeup from that delivery, throwing 96 to 98, and then dropping a changeup on good arm speed. The ball just is 85. That is tough duty right there. You've got to gear up for 96, 97. Sano saw 98, and then to get that one with 2 strikes. That's good pitching.
Vargas 1 for 3. Outside ball one. Gibbons falling behind everybody here in this 7th inning. Another shattered bat for Vargas. The barrel ending up in the outfield grass. Gibbons has a 1-2-3 inning.
The third Twin, joining Harmon Killebrew and Kirby Puckett to homer in an All-Star game. He also was the 16th player to homer in his first All-Star game at bat.
Cool moment for Brian. There'll be a lot of cool moments this year. The can't miss event of the summer hitting South Beach. Baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star game. Tuesday only on Fox. Will you be watching the All-Star game? Yeah. See, I'm still fascinated with the game.
I love it.
I care about the game. It's just a wonderful collection of great baseball players. Buddy Boucher's coming in for the 15th time, and when I was a kid, of course, it was my baseball cards coming to life.
Right, exactly right.
Boucher's coming in here, hoping for a nice, quick 8th inning. Haven't seen him since a week ago today. seen him warm up a few times.
He's done a nice job for the Twins out of the bullpen.
Well, the bullpen in its own way has done a nice job here in relief of Mejia. Lyle ended up walking Machado, but he got scope. Now the Twins hope that Boshear's going to have an uneventful top of the 8th inning. 1-1. Chopper to second, hit to Dozier. Backpedaling and throwing to first, 1 away.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Minnesota Twins, LLC.
1 down, and now Mark Trumbo. Trumbo hit the ball to the left of Escobar. It was ruled an error. I may have described it as a hit, but it was ruled an error. A fielder's choice and a run batted in for Trumbo. And a first pitch strike. Toronto beat Houston 7-2 at the Rogers Center. Marcus Stroman with the victory. Houston looking for its 60th win of the year. Tonight the Dodgers will try to do that against the Royals. 2-0.
And I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, it's nice looking at the standings and seeing the team you're covering in second place rather than third place, even if it's just by a half game. I mentioned if the Yankees hadn't come back and won their game with Milwaukee, Twins would have had the 4th best record in the American League. 2-1. Mancini on deck. Two.
Buddy Boshear's with a real good curveball. That's his best pitch. You just saw it right there. Really, really nice over the top, almost straight down curveball that you don't see a lot of anymore, but that's got really good movement. You see almost through the whole vertical length of the strike zone. And now fastball in. That sets up the breaking ball. You know what I like about Buddy Boshear is he just seems fearless to me. He'll throw that fastball in. He throws 91 or 92, but he understands that he's got to throw enough fastballs for strikes in good locations to make that really good curveball effective. And he'll throw some changeups off the fastball.
Hit well to left.
Yeah, that ball, that guy's just too strong.
And gone, a home run. Trumbo hitting his 14th of the year. The Orioles get an awfully big insurance run in the 8th inning.
Well, I was just bragging about Buddy Boshear's curveball, and he threw it, and it stayed just high enough. Sometimes you have to give credit to a hitter. This guy is so strong. The ball jumps off his bat. You know that's really a pretty good pitch, and he's out in front of it a little bit. But when a good hitter is out in front of the ball that much and extends to reach the ball, that extension is what drives the ball. That kind of distance, extension, and strength. Breaking balls and changeups can go a long way, almost by mistake, just because the hitter gets just fully extended right at the very end.
1-0 now to Trey Mancini, 0 for 3. And now 2-0. Last night the Orioles got the first 6 runs and the Twins got the next 9. And on a smaller scale, that's what's happened here today. The Twins got the first run. Now the Orioles have scored 5 straight. Up the middle and off of Boshear's glove, and it still was smoking hot when it went into center field.
This is an awfully good Orioles lineup. We've been talking about that for 3 days now. And the issue with the Orioles is certainly not their offense. They can run some guys up there through the 6th or 7th spot, including this young man right here, who's come on this year as just a force in that lineup. Really good-looking young hitter.
Orioles enter the game with the worst ERA in the league at 5.10. And they're getting a well-pitched game here today and enough offense to lead it 5-1. Castillo, the batter. On the outside corner, a strike.
Well, when you can run a stretch of guys, it sounds like this: Machado, Scope, Adam Jones, Mark Trumbo, Trey Mancini, and then putting Chris Davis at some time when he gets healthy. That's some thunder in that lineup, and it's very, very difficult to get through that stretch.
Oh, 2. What made the Orioles so good, so potent last year? They got into the playoffs as a wild card team.
Well, they can swing the bat, and then last year, Chris Tillman had a decent year from the Stars. We look at Phil Hughes in the bullpen getting loose. Looks like Phil's going to maybe get some work. They didn't pitch as badly in the last season as they had in the starting staff, the Orioles, this first half.
And Castillo takes a fastball down the middle, 2 down. And now Johnny Giavotella. Boucher's back in the strike zone. Strike 1. Off the plate, 1-1. Orioles started the day 9.5 games behind the surging Boston Red Sox. 5 games behind the Yankees, who had their dramatic walk-off win today over the Brewers. Two and 1.
I got to believe that the Red Sox are going to be very, very difficult to not favor in the American League East. They're not hitting the home runs that they hit when Big Papi was in the middle of that lineup, but they have a lineup much like the Orioles. Up and down the lineup, they can swing the bats, and they're in Fenway, which gives them a huge advantage. And now they've got the pitching staff that's starting to get healthy. Ultimately, that pitching staff's got to be good enough, I would think.
Every start that David Price has that is encouraging, both in terms of health and effectiveness, is going to make them that much tougher.
Right. That's what I was thinking. You add Chris Sale to that rotation. Now David Price, if he can become effective again, Porcello. Get those 3 guys pitching well, and that's almost all you need, and they've got more than that.
Down and away now, 3-2. Shears has thrown 20 pitches, trying to wrap things up here, having allowed so far the only hit of consequence, a Trumbo home run to left. Runner at first will take off. That's Mancini. High fly, short center. Dozier out, Buxton in. And Buxton calls him off, makes the catch to end the inning. Orioles add a run in the 8th, and you're watching Twins baseball presented by State Farm.
1. Just a reminder that after the game, Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink, is coming your way. So far tonight, no big innings like we've seen the last couple of games, but we'll break down how the Orioles managed to scrape together some runs here in Game 3. For the Twins, no surprise, the offense coming from their all-star. We'll look at Miguel Sano's latest bomb in his 10-game hit streak, and we'll bring you the comments of manager Paul Molitor. That's coming your way after the game, guys.
All right, thank you. Twins with some work to do, running out of time. Rosario leading off the 8th against Gibbons. There's a pitch outside, ball 1. It'll be Rosario, Adrianta, and Buxton in the 8th. Jonathan Scope moving from short back to his natural position, second base, and Tejada's in the game now at short. 1-1. The pitching issues for the Orioles have not centered around their bullpen. It's been very good. It's been the starting pitching.
Right.
They got a good start today from Miley, and now the bullpen trying to take it home for Miley. Driven to right. Off the wall, and Rosario will be held to a single. Ball rolling through, and Gibbons actually does a nice job smothering the throw from the outfield, and a good play by Gentry playing the carom. So Rosario's aboard, and Zach Granite's about to make his major league debut.
We're looking at Eddie Rosario, who's just hotter than a firecracker here on the 4th of July weekend or week. Fastball down the middle, a good fastball, and he hammers it off the wall. And now we're going to see the youngster that's been tearing it up in AAA.
Twins minor league player of the year last year. Coming out of spring training, he was hurt. And this is what we've talked about, the awareness of Twins fans. You can go on the internet and follow this guy in the minor leagues. He hit .470 in the month of June, and now he's in the big leagues. After getting a nice welcome. And he takes a fastball for a strike. As of a week ago, he was leading the International League in hitting by 50 points. Strike 2. Self-described as a grinder. That's the word Paul Molitor uses to describe him as well. Met him for the first time last winter. He was in town for Twins Fest and the Diamond Awards, where he was awarded the minor league player of the year after a great year at AA. 1-2. Hit leadoff, played center field for Rochester, but can play all 3 outfield positions. 1-2. Fouled away.
.97-mile-an-hour fastball. He got the big end of the bat to it, just got under a little bit, fouled it back. Good swing.
From Seton Hall University.
I can tell you, your first at bat in the big leagues, you almost can't control the butterflies that you've got. Just the adrenaline rush is just incredible.
A piece, fouled it back.
Boy, I like his swing. It's pretty short to the ball. That was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball up in the strike zone. Left-hand hitters don't generally hit that, but look, he's just straight to the ball. Very short, very quick. Not a lot of complication to that swing. It's just hands go back, bring the big end through.
Well, self-described as a grinder, and he's grinding out this first big league at bat, fouling off some tough 2-strike pitches. 14th round pick back in 2013.
Well, I hope Gibbons throws him another fastball. He hasn't seen the breaking ball yet.
He draws walks. Defensively, very fleet-footed. He has above average arm strength, according to Paul Molitor. Very accurate thrower, according to the manager. Two and two.
Well, this is already a nice at bat for the young man. I'm going to, regardless of what happened, well, I won't say regardless. If he doesn't get a hit here, if he doesn't hit the ball hard, I'm going to wonder, and I might even ask him if he'll kick himself a little bit for taking 2 strikes. I understand taking the first one. He took a strike 2 right down the middle. Let's see if he can grind one out here.
3 and 2. The fans are really into this plate appearance.
This is great.
A high fly deep down the right field line, but a foul ball. On the play, Rosario took off for second.
Well, there's a credit to this. Give you an idea what kind of hitter Zach Granite is and what Paul Molitor thinks he knows about him. It's a 5-1 game and nobody out. And Paul's sending the runner at first, meaning Zach's either going to take ball 4 or he's going to make contact with it.
The 11th pitch of this plate appearance. There have been 5 2-strike fouls. Zach Granite will turn 25 in mid-September. In his 5th year of professional ball. Little pop-up, short left field. Machado out, and the left fielder coming in. Rickard finally ends the Granite at bat. Has any pop-up been more appreciated in Twins history than the one that Zach Granite just hit? 1 down.
Well, it's great on so many levels that the Twins fans react this way. First, that they, as you say, that they wouldn't even know about it, that they're paying that much attention to what's going on in Twins baseball, in the Twins baseball organization. But secondly, that they would reward him and what he's done this year in AAA. I just think it's great.
We have a delay here. Something has drawn the attention of the umpires and everybody else in the Baltimore dugout. And I'm counting the players. Oh, we are short a fielder, a right fielder. And Gentry running back out to his position. Give him the benefit of the doubt, saying maybe he decided he needed some sunglasses, but we've had partly cloudy skies all afternoon long. So anyway, 1 down, and now Buxton will hit. Inside, ball 1. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Buxton with an infield hit his last time up. He drew a walk in the 4th, reached in a fielder's choice in the 2nd. This will be the 30th pitch for Givens. Almost half of them to Zach Granite. Popped up Over for a look, Mancini. And no play. And it's 1-2. July 18th, it's St. John's University and College of St. Benedict's night at Target Field. A limited number of CSB SJU theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a red and white Twins cap. You can learn more at twinsbaseball.com. CSB SJU. 1-2. Foul tip. And Castillo hangs on. Buxton strikes out for out number 2. That'll bring up Castro. Brad Brock, the Baltimore closer, getting loose. Would like to get, even if it's just 1 run, to trim back the lead to 3 going into the 9th inning. Castro, the number 9 batter, singled to left his last time up. Outside, ball 1. Twins won 2 out of 3 over the Angels. They've won the first 2 here. It will be a winning homestand. Twins haven't had one of those since the 3-game series that started the season back in April when they swept the Royals. Into short right field, where Scope awaits and throws Castro out. It will be a 5-1 score to the 9th.
To play at Tiger Field.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a beautiful ballpark.
That facility is gorgeous.
The city, the Tiger Field is beautiful.
Even in the summertime, in the middle of the summer, you can't beat the Minnesota summer days.
Once you see it, it kind of takes over your heart.
And as we said, we this summer have a good ball club, beautiful ballpark. And this homestand, at least the weather's been wonderful. We'll see whether the Twins can come back and create a little 9th inning magic. Jorge Polanco in at short now for the Twins, with Adrianza having been pinch hit for. And Phil Hughes on the mound.
Phil tried to work his way back from just weeks and months of injury plague. See if he can get his arm back and shoulder, elbow, forearm back in shape for the second half of the season.
Well, I think you could overstate how important Phil Hughes could be to this team if he can pitch with the effectiveness he showed out of the bullpen for the Yankees. Now that might seem unrealistic given all the health issues. Hughes has had 2 appearances as a reliever since coming off the disabled list. The first one was very good. The second one wasn't good at all. against the Red Sox in late June. An inning and 2/3, just 1 hit, no walks, 2 strikeouts. That was his first appearance as a reliever. And then against the Royals, an inning and 2/3, 6 hits, a walk, 2 earned runs. 1-1. 1-2. And unless Paul Molitor can be confident of what he's going to get from Phil Hughes, it's hard to put him in any setup situations, which is where he excelled years ago with the Yankees. 2-2. I asked Paul about that. It was in Kansas City, and the Twins won the 1-ball game, and Belisle was used in a key spot in the 7th inning or 8th inning, whatever it was. And I asked about Hughes, and Paul said, well, I can't afford to do that right now. I don't know what I'm going to get. That's why these outings here are important for Phil Hughes, to build a little confidence in the manager. Tapper. Dozier throws to first, 1 away. Partial season ticket packages are now available in the Delta Sky 360 Club at Cash. You can become a Twins season ticket holder today. Become part of the Sweet Spot program. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com or by calling 800-33-TWINS. 1 away in the 9th. Rickard has a pair of hits. And a 92-mile-per-hour cut fastball for a swing and a miss.
That's encouraging. Just that right there, throwing at 92 is that's very encouraging.
And now upstairs at 93. Yankees will tell you that when he pitched out of the bullpen and the Yankees won the World Series, he was a big reason why, to get the ball, the game, to Mariano Rivera. Up high at 92. And a strikeout of Rickard, out number 2. The year was 2009, and Hughes did make 7 starts. Most of his appearances, though, out of the bullpen. He was 8-3, ERA of just over 3. Opponent batting average of .217. And you know, Phil, he wasn't going to walk anybody. He gave up 8 home runs. It was just a really solid year, and he was a big part of a really good bullpen. Manny Machado will hit. 2 more hits today and a walk for the Oriole third baseman. Strike 1. Fly ball right field, hit right to Grossman. Phil Hughes has a very strong, effective 9th inning. Twins down by 4 going to the bottom. point, this game kind of felt like the game the Twins lost to the Angels, a 2-1 ball game. Offensively, just unable to get a big hit along the way, and now they're going to need to get some in the bottom of the ninth. Brian Dozier will lead things off against Brad Brock, the closer for the Orioles.
Pressed into the closer role with the injury to Zach Britton. And he really has done a nice job. He's got good stuff. You can see the opponent batting average only 171. Struck out more than one an inning and doesn't walk people. So that's a pretty good combination there.
Dozier, Escobar, and Sano, and then the Twins hope a half dozen more. On the outside corner, a strike. Dozier 0 for 3, hit by a pitch his last time up, and he takes a ball 1-1. Twins out hitting the Orioles 9-7. They've left 11 men on and committed 2 errors. Big swing and a miss.
That's what we're saying. The 11 men left on base, primarily a function of the fact that they got an awful lot of hits and walks with 2 outs in the inning already, and just couldn't get the big hit that you're talking about, Dick. But it's hard to do that. It's hard to put a bunch of hits together with 2 outs in the inning.
Fouled away. That's still 1-2. Granite's been used. Polanco's in the game, so the Twins have a bench of Jimenez and Kepler. Certainly not the top of the order or the middle of the order, but the Twins can extend the inning, get down to the bottom of the order. They've got realistically 1 move to make. On the outside corner, and Dozier takes a called 3rd strike. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Final game of the 4-game series, and erratic Ubaldo Jimenez will go for the Orioles. And that was kind of the story of Kyle Gibson's season 2. He was a bit erratic, but he's tightened things up here. Looks more like the pitcher we've grown accustomed to seeing. Here is Escobar with 1 down in the 9th. Outside, ball 1.
Well, that will be an interesting ball game tomorrow to see which one of the pitchers on both sides shows up.
And now a strike, 1-1. And Escobar just flicks a foul down the left field line, 1-2. Not a save situation with a 4-run lead. The Twins would like to make Brock work here in this 9th inning. To the extent he might not be available tomorrow. Pitches up, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, you can tell when a manager really wants to win a ball game, and this and Showalter wants this one. He's not going to leave anything to chance and bring in somebody else in the 9th just because it's not a save situation. It's a save situation for that man, Buck Showalter.
And now 3-2, Sano on deck. Fouled back. Well, to your point, Twins have 9 hits. Only 2 of them have not come with 2 outs. Twins have taken 3 walks, and 2 of the walks came with 2 outs.
Right. Just hard to string a bunch of hits together. And the Twins are really pretty good at it. We know how many big innings they've had in this year, where they've thrown 5+ runs on the board, gotten a lot of hits in a row, but it's hard to do that with 2 outs with the first 2 out.
And Escobar fighting off another one. Twins won the first 2 games of the series without hitting a home run, and today they hit one. In fact, Sano's home run, the first run of the game, and they haven't scored since. But credit Wade Miley for most of that. Looked like a very good pitcher today. 3-2 to Escobar, and he swings at a pitch in the dirt, and Castillo flips to first, 2 down.
Sano's home run came with 2 out.
Yep.
In the 3rd inning, but you know, Earl, we were talking about the guys that can hit 3-run home runs. You got to have guys that get on base. And also,
they're all solo home runs.
They're all solo, so it's a combination. You just want to have a balanced lineup, and you want to have some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark occasionally.
It's down to their last out. Sano right off the end of the bat, way out in front. 1 strike. After the game tomorrow, Sano and Kinsler and Santana will jet down to Miami. Fouled back. 2 strikes. So far, Brock's only thrown 15 pitches. And swinging through a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. The Orioles end their losing streak. And the Twins held to just 1 run in their loss to the Orioles here this afternoon. Tom Hanneman took the Orioles 6 tries, but they finally found a way to beat the Twins, and to no one's surprise, it took a good pitching game from their starter to do the trick.
Dick, last night everything came easy at the plate for the Twins. A different tale today. Up next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink, we'll talk about the Orioles' ability to put runs together this afternoon. Miguel Sano's slugfest, a home run, and we'll hear from Paul Molitor.